Welcome in, everybody. Hello, hello. Hello, Sister Sherry. Hello, Brother Scott. And hello, William, who is watching upstairs. I'm awfully shady looking in here. Awfully shadowy. Can you hear me okay, guys? It looks awfully laggy again. Sorry. Hello, Sister Carrie. Nice to see ye. I'll go at the top of the line in case I've missed anybody coming in. Thanks, Sister Sherry. Am I okay, Scott? Yeah. Just on my side, it looks as if it always is a little bit laggy anyway. But maybe sort itself out, guys. It is StreamYards after all. So welcome in, everybody. We have got the main candle lit tonight again. I'll try and let you see it. I don't understand. Oh, wrong way. Wrong way. There we go. It's over there. That's, from now on, as I told you, I was going through too many spell candles, which is these ones that I have in this drawer. Basically, I have, I don't know if you can see that, candles of every colour. And a lot of them. I usually try and keep at least 10 each colour. The purple ones I've got, the purple and the blue I've got a little bit more than that, but I need to get some white and pink and brown. White, pink and brown and green I need some more of. So we will get them. So I don't want it to always have to keep using my spell candles. So now I could just buy the pillar candles. And this one here I've still not engraved for Sister Moon. Because I've not decided if I'm going to give it to Sister Moon or I'm going to just engrave it for maybe the fairies or everybody. Or I'm thinking about doing my ancestor altar. So I don't want to have about 6 different candles lit. So I might just do one dedicated to everybody. We'll see. And I have been bottling the paint oil, guys. And this is all I have left of it. So it's running low. That's only about 1, 2, 3. That's only about 5 bottles. Yep. Oh, and the new bottles I've got upstairs. It's little brown roller bottles. Welcome in, everybody. Just relaxing. Take a break from 3. Oh, good, Brother Scott. Yes, I'm glad that you're doing it, though. That is the main thing, is doing it. Just relaxing, take a break from 3D arts, need to recharge my energy. Good stuff, Brother Scott. Sit back then and listen to a little. What had happened was I was going to do tarot readings, as you probably know. It was advertised for today. I'll put that camera back. It was advertised for today, guys. I don't know why that camera's saying it's on as well. So, but the time I was running about, I had to go to Kerry's, and then I went into my mum's, and then I went into Nellie's to lock her door and things. So I've been running around, so I've not really had much time to kind of ground myself, see what cards I want to read and all that, right? I've not had time to put makeup on, so there you go. So William had went to help his auntie Flit down the street, which is basically move house to across the road. She's moving from a 4 in a block to a bungalow because her feet are pretty bad, guys, and that's the one I give the paint oil to for her feet. So William took that away down today, and her friend was using it and said it was brilliant. So excellent. So anyway, apart from that, so what they were doing, they were going to throw this out. And I think they clicked on that I would like it because it's called Andrew C. Scott at the Crossroads of Time, How a Small Scottish Village Changed History. Given its extraordinary legacy in the arts, the sciences and in the world of politics, Lesmahagow may well claim to be a village that changed the world. Professor Justin Champion Emeritus Professor of the History of Early Modern Ideas, Royal Holloway, University of London, and former President of the Historical Society. So I started to read the bit in that kind of tells you what the book is all about, and I thought, do you know something? That is bloody amazing. Half of the people that came from our town or stayed in our town or as our ascendants from our town. So I don't know how long it would take me. Okay. It would take me to read out especially the first chapter, which is it's not that bad actually. I had to laugh at the beginning of the second chapter. Listen to this. Most people will not have heard of our small Scottish village of Lesmahagow. After all, why should they have? It would be quite reasonable to point it out on a modern road map, showing that you pass it if travelling on the M74 from English-Scottish border of Glasgow in the west of Scotland, which we sit right on as the motorway. If you travelled the route, you may have noticed the sign for the village and commented on the unusual name, Lesmahagow. For the record, it's Lesmahagow. In considering the history of the village and parish, we might reasonably expect to be able to trace the position of the village on a map, even before the name itself had been invented. It is relatively easy for us to imagine that 100,000 years ago, the site of the modern village was buried under more than a kilometre of ice. Our story, therefore, does not start with any rocks that you can now see in the area around Lesmahagow. Instead, we will begin by looking at the geology of regions beyond the painting, a picture of how the area of Lesmahagow came into existence. We could begin our journey from when the earth was formed some 4.6 billion years ago, but this is not a geological textbook. We could look at how the fragments. Anyway, that's just it goes on to tell. See, the thing is, they found a lot of fossils under Lesmahagow when they were building the town, I do believe, and I'll tells you about this in what I'm going to read out. So therefore, one of the most famous geological people came for this area and things. But I'll read it out, guys, because I was really impressed, to be honest. I thought, ooh. Everybody, nice to see you all, and I don't even know who's all here, guys, but really the point tonight was just to read this story out. So it was really, I was going to do it on a video, and then I thought, why not just go live and read it to you guys, and then it can be on the channel as well. Right, but I think you'll be quite impressed when you hear this. It'll probably not take me long to read it out, guys, but you are welcome to still talk amongst yourselves in the chat. Definitely support, especially with supporting Sister Sherry, guys. You're welcome to do all that, okay? Andrew Scott, a permanent and innovative scientist of fire, has reconstructed a remarkable story about a small Scottish village called Lesmahagow. Unlike many other small villages in the UK, it has many claims to fame because of its location, its cultural contributions, and the distinctive legacy many of its sometimes residents have conferred on the history of the nation. As Scott is very well placed because of his scientific expertise, the village is cradled in a very dramatic and unusual geographical and geological context. These aspects of the material and sociology of Lesmahagow have ensured that the historical development of the region provided a material and social context that allowed and encouraged the carers and lives of the distinguished people who were born there. As Scott discusses, some of the inhabitants of the village achieved transformation and distinguished contributions to the wider world. Andrew Scott knows of what he speaks of because his family lived in the village for more than 300 years. The legacy of these people has not commonly been traced to their own single connection that they will grow up in the small village. Scott's narrative begins by setting the scene of the geological history of the area and the parish of Lesmahagow in particular. Drawing on its expertise, Scott delivers an account of how the unique geological legacy of more than 500 million years provided the village with a range of natural resources that were key in the subsequent development. By interweaving the story of its own family history and their changing occupations with the local geology and industrial development, Scott establishes how Lesmahagow transformed from a largely agricultural community to one where weaving became important, and as the Industrial Revolution expanded, how its economy started to exploit the local resources through limestone and ironstone and ultimately turned to coal mining. Guys, see the person that invented the William Smiley is the person that invented the forceps when you're having a baby. The William Smiley Memorial Hospital is over in Lanark. A lot of people were born in it. My daughter Kerry was born in it. I was born in Larkhall at my auntie's house, or I would have been born in it as well. But that just shows you just how many people are. But it tells you all this, right? Important to Scott is not only the person that wrote the Canadian song, something about a maple leaf, originated from Lesmahagow. Important to Scott is not only the industrial ecologically, but the networks of families and people who made up the local community. Inventors from Lesmahagow designed new machines such as the pedal bike. So the pedal bike was invented in Lesmahagow. Now, who knew that? My goodness. Including the pedal bike, an experiment with innovative industrial developments at New Lanark, bordering Lesmahagow on the River Clyde. Both of these aspects in different measures may be claimed to have changed the world. We also learn about the man midwife William Smiley, whose book on the theory and practice of midwifery, published in 1750, became the go-to textbook for over 150 years, not only in Britain but in North America and across the world. The Smiley forceps are still used in many hospitals today. The parish of Lesmahagow has mainly distinguished visitors, especially from the world of literature and the arts, who had a profound effect upon the area. The sister of Robert Burns lived there, and he seems to have visited her frequently. So he's visited here, guys. More significantly, the greatest novelist and historian Sir Walter Scott loved the area and at one time considered settling there. Attracted by the tales of the Craignethin Castle and its historical connections with Mary, Queen of Scots, Walter Scott captured this aspect in the account. Sorry, my leg's twisted, guys. In the account, where did I fix it? I found it where I went. With Mary, Queen of Scots. Walter Scott captured the aspect in the account of Tillytoodlem in his novel Old Mortality, published in 1816. Many locals saw commercial opportunity in this and consequently built a hamlet called Tillytoodlem, eventually arranging for a new train stop to bring tourists interested in following in Walter Scott's footsteps. This tourist trade was not a modern invention. Religion was also played an important part in the life of the village, and along with the involvement of the parish in the Covenanter movement, many of the clashes between Covenanters and Royalists took place in the area. As part of the Protestant tradition, many in the village understood the value of public education. The product of this commitment to education led to many ordinary people making distinguished national contributions. Even those who went abroad, such as Alexander Muir, who emigrated to Canada and wrote the famous song The Maple Leaf Forever, continued to flourish. If we look at the lecturer that were available for the entire village to attend in the mid-19th century, it would not be our village to attend in the mid... Oh, sorry, wait now. I've mixed this up, guys. The entire village to attend in the mid-19th century, it would not be out of place in a society programme anywhere today. The desire for education was distinctive and strong in the type of Scottish village community. Many from very ordinary backgrounds saw the value of education as a means of self-improvement. Scott's father, for example, whose own father was a coal miner, went to university on a miner's scholarship. The end of the 19th century and the early part of the 20th saw the remarkable increase in schooling for all the children of the village, inspired by one teacher in particular, Matthew Glover. His own children, James and Edward, went on to distinguish themselves in the new academic discipline of the psychology. However, it is one class of 1924 that catches the eye, with two boys becoming knights of the realm and one becoming a cabinet minister. There was a spy came for here as well. One boy from the village, Alec Cairncross, went on to become an important economist, government advisor, and later Chancellor of the University of Glasgow and Master of St Peter's College, Oxford. His brother, on the other hand, is best known as the fifth Cambridge spy. But as Scott points out, much about him and his background has been misunderstood. For many from poor backgrounds, there were some chance, though scholarships go on to university. Wait a minute. Scott tells us how his father, part of the class of 1938, attended Glasgow University to study French and German at what proved to be a critical time in world history. He establishes how many of the class went on to become part of the intelligence corps during the Second World War, distinguished themselves in code breaking, behind the lines sabotage, and more generally in the aftermath of the victory in Europe. He relates stories of his father's best friend Jimmy Adams' first-hand experience at Nuremberg rally and Jimmy's arrest of the top Nazi coachum von Ribbentrop. What Scott is able to show through careful historical documentation is that many of the accounts of both Jimmy and his activities were been incorrectly reported, even in recent history books. So basically, he wasn't really a spy, but even though history portrays him to be a spy. Hi, Dobby says, so nice to see you. I will go back to the comments. The history books. Scott's account argues that several key lessons can be derived from the book. The first in that people are their activities and contributions are often shaped by place and local history. Second is that determination to succeed, even from those from the poorest backgrounds, is important. The third is that a desire to learn is fundamentally important. Scott's own encounters with the historical record have also shown how it is important in the humanities, as it is in the science, to never trust what others have written without checking the evidence and the facts for yourself, which we tell you today, guys, don't we? As Scott has re-encountered, going back to original historical records, whether these are the rocks and fossils in the ground, letters, parish records, or school registers archived in any number of places, is key to understanding not only our past, but also our possible future. Given its extraordinary legacy in the arts, the sciences, and in the world of politics, Lesmahagow may well claim to be a village that changed the world. Is that not amazing, guys? And there is other bits that I could probably read it to you through time, but there's loads of different chapters in it that really quite is gripping. Wait, I'll show you some. I'll read out some of the chapters. It's actually in it. And acknowledgements as well. The book was not only have been possible without the help of many people. I first must thank there's loads, man. There's people that's already stood in the village right up to God knows when. Wait, and I'll tell you some of the. Oh, this one, a special place. So it's basically telling you how Lesmahagow's what makes it so special, and it's all to do with the archaeological. Where we sit on the map used to be water. So it's about all the stuff that was under the water when it's basically fossils. And when I read this bit to you and you'll understand a little bit better. Unlike many other small villages in UK, Lesmahagow has many claims to fame. I read that bit to you, but wait till you hear this. More than 400 million years ago, the earliest fishes swarm in its lagoons together with giant sea scorpions. The fossils of these amazing creatures are famous worldwide. The coals formed from peat when the area lay across the equator fueled a number of revolutions in energy supply. Important to Scott is not simply the industrial ecology, but the networks of families and people who made the local community. Inventors from Lesmahagow designed new machines such as the pedal bike and experimented with innovative industries developments of new landmarks. So the end of the 19th and early part of the 20th century saw the remarkable increase of that was a bit about schooling. So basically, a lot of the fossils and things that they got in this area has changed a lot of the way that they look at fossils. Some of the fossils that we had for here is really, really famous and things because those animals, they didn't know if they ever existed and things like that. And it goes on to tell you why it is such a special place. The Lapitous Ocean. When we look at our map of Britain, isles, these are temptations to believe that it is always an island. In other words, we probably think that we were one big island, but I think what they mean is at one point we were separated and came together in a lot of parts of it as well. Even though a lot of it's broke off, there was a lot of it has now came together as well, is what they mean. But it's amazing, man. This is a major geological. Oh no, maybe that's not that bit. So if you look there, it goes on to tell you. You'd have to buy the book to see it all, or I could read it to you through time. But if you look here, this is where a lot of it has came together. So basically, where we are must have been trapped between there, and that's what they've found. But I would have to read the book, guys, to truly know. But is that not amazing that we have such a lot of people for our village? And there's the guy there that read the book. Andrew Cunningham Scott was born and brought up in Pinner in North London, but his family has lived in Scottish village of Lesmahagow for over 300 years. And there he's there, guys. I'll read the book. I maybe not read it as in all at once, but I'll read it. And I'll show you some of the pictures that's in it as well. You'll recognise this. Oh, that's where I've showed you over the back. Oh, you'll definitely recognise this. There's my wee church. There's my cemetery, guys. The one that I go to all the time. The parish church one. But there when they were looking for the fossils, look. And there's the man there. And that was they were looking for all the fossils away back when. Is that not amazing? Look. Above is the Hunter's Selkirk, ponders the fossil-bearing rocks. So basically he's sitting there looking at the rocks to see what ones has got the fossils under it. The parish church is the centre of the village and the churchyard where the Covenanter martyrs are buried, as are of large number of own ancestors. See, a lot of the graves down there, you can't read them because of how old they are. But it just shows you that a lot of the Covenanter martyrs are buried in there, which is absolutely bonkers, guys. I wonder if they would ever talk to me through the spirit box. Oh, could you imagine some of the answers we could get? What it was like to be a Covenanter? I'm going to have to read this book. And then a lot of the spirits in Lesmahagow, a lot of people that's buried here, especially in that old cemetery, I'm going to have to try and get some questions around some of this history. Would that not be amazing, guys, if I could get some of these I need to look for their graves as well. If they've been in the village 300 years, they're going to be in that cemetery. Turning points, secret and spies. See, it goes on to tell you that guy's story, secrets and spies, the brother's story. Learning to think. I don't know what that one's about. Alec Cairncross was awarded the Hamilton Gold Medal and Upward Prize for the Ducks of Lesmahagow Higher Grade School on the 4th of July 1925, and there is no doubt that he was one of the most important academics to have gone through the Lesmahagow school system. Alexander Kirkland Cairncross was born in Lesmahagow on 11th of February 1911. The family lived at Pine Cottage in the New Trowse Road in Lesmahagow. Like his brother and sisters, as well as others in the village, Alec, as he preferred to be called, started his school career at the first school of Turf Home. He then transferred to the lower grade, then the higher grade school. By the time he reached the latter, Mr. Matthew Glover had retired and Mr. John I. Stewart had succeeded him, standards at the school remaining high. In his Class 2A in 1923 to 24, his teachers included Mr. Clegg, Mathematical and Science, Mr. White, Mathematics, Mr. Huck, Art, Mr. McIntyre, English, Miss Pelling, English and Latin, and Miss Williamson, French. Like many of his peers before and after, Alec went on to Hamilton Academy. Again, as with many others, he sat for scholarships to allow him to go to Glasgow University. He was very successful and obtained 2 scholarships. He entered Glasgow in September 1928 to study economics, and as he recalls in his memoirs, he intended to study to become an accountant. However, as it well known, the university was the academic home of the world-famous economist Adam Smith, who had revolutionized economic theory with his book The Wealth of Nations. He obtains his degree in September 1932 and he graduated in June 1933 with a first-class honours degree in politics, economy and political philosophy. He therefore overlapped with his brother John, who arrived in the 1931-32 academic year. Alec became increasingly interested in his subject and decided that he needed to pursue it further. He therefore went off to Cambridge to undertake a PhD, and in 1932 this decision had consequently not only for Alec but for his brother and his country as whole, it had an international impact. Alec went to Trinity College, Cambridge, where he was awarded a scholarship to undertake his research. During his 3 years at Cambridge, he met some giants of economics, including John Maynard Keynes in 1935. He received his PhD in economics. Surprisingly, only the second awarded by Cambridge University, with a thesis entitled British Home and Foreign Investment 1870 to 1913. It would then be published in 1953. It first appeared that Alec would mostly pursue an academic career as he returned to his alma mater, Glasgow University, in 1935 as a lecturer in economics and accepted a lecturership with the West of Scotland Agricultural College. I know well the area of Auchencrew there, sure, that's where Willie went to. Basically it's a farm school where you learn to be a farmer, agricultural Ayrshire, where the college was. But that's really, really ancient. That we went up a run to here one time and we passed by it and we stopped the car and things because Wally was going to go in and see if some of the teachers were still around. You know what it's like. But we didn't go in. I went to see that. Right, where the college was partly based, as it is the nearest point to one of the fossil localities that I studied during my own PhD, and I collected fossil plants from rock outcrops in the banks of the River Aire at Anbank. This stretch of Glasgow for Alec was immediately before my father's John Dalglish Scott, and it is certain that they would have had contact with each other there, as the families were quite friendly, and I know Alec and John were in still contact in London during the early 1960s. This was a very busy time for Alec, as students' demands were high. He had then foresight to write summaries of his lectures, and these notes provided the basis of textbooks Introduction to Economics that became an important core text for many studying economics through the 1950s and 1960s, running to 6 editions. The outbreak of the Second World War changed the direction of Alec's career. He entered government service, where he remained for 10 years. Most importantly for the country, in January 1940 he was recruited to the War Cabinet's office to join a group of economists under the direction of Lord Stamp. In the view of the revelations concerning his brother John, it is interesting to note that one of his jobs at this time was to put together a series of documents concerning secret official statistics that were collected by the broad range of government departments. During the war, Alec also spent time in the Ministry of Aircraft Production, where he was able to streamline the provisions of spare parts, thus saving the government considerable sums of money, which needed at the time. In 1939, he met Mary Glynn and they married in 1943. He was later to have 5 children, including the well known journalist, economist, and former rector of Exeter College, Oxford, Frances Cairncross, now Dame Frances. In 1943, Alec went to Germany to deal with the aftermath of the war. Alec went as a representative of the Treasury to discuss German reparations. He found himself at odds with others wanting larger reparations and arguing for the people to retain a decent standard of living. In an idea that proved to be a lasting legacy, his report was published in 1946. Alec joined the staff of The Economist, but would later rejoin government service as an economic advisor to the Board of Trade. By 1950, he had been transferred to Paris as director of economic divisions of the OEEC, Organisation of Europe Economic Cooperation, later to become the OECD. During this period, he worked on the plan to deal with Germany's post war balance of payments crisis. Glasgow was a special place for Alec, and in 1951 he returned to his alma mater to establish one of Britain's first research departments for applied economics. During this period, he made many contributions to national and international life. For example, in 1955, he went to Washington, D.C. to help set up Economic Development Institution. However, this role pulled Alec back to important government work, and in 1961 he rejoined the Treasury, heading up its economic section. A change of government in 1964 meant a change of focus, and Alec found himself at odds with the incoming government. It is interesting to note that his classmate Tom Fraser was in the government at this time also. Alec was eventually persuaded to stay as director of the economic section by James Callaghan, but it is ironic that following a series of economic crises, it was Alec who had to tell Callaghan that devolution of the currency was inevitable, essentially necessitating the Chancellor's resignation. Alec was appointed as KCMF in 1967, so Sir Alec became the first in his higher grade class to get a knighthood. In 1967, Alec was elected as Master of St. Peter's College, Cambridge, a post he held from 1969 until 1978. However, it was his appointment to Chancellor of the University of Glasgow in 1971 that he describes as his proudest moment. It is odd that it was only while doing research for this book that I linked a number of aspects of my life to those from Lesmahagow. Much of my early research material was given to the University of Glasgow Hunterian Museum, and during Alec's tenure as Chancellor, I found myself several times giving lectures at the university. I would have loved to have met him. Alec, like many of his family, was also interested in poetry. In 1980, he published a collection of poems he had written when he was much younger. Alec continued with the role of the university until his 85th birthday in 1996. He died at the John Radcliffe Hospital in Oxford in 1998 following a cycling accident. Curiously, this was the hospital where my own daughter was to work later. If the teachers were to look at the Class 2A photo of 1923 to 24, class of Lesmahagow Higher Grade School in later years, knowing what the pupils were to achieve, I would give a penny for her thoughts. Is that not amazing, guys? That our little town has such a profound... Who would have thought they invented the pedal bike in Lesmahagow? Hi, Mystical, my friend across the world. Now, who would have thought that my little town invented the pedal bike? Somebody in this little town, anyway. Is that not amazing? Wait till we'll go back up the list, guys, and say hello to everybody. It just sneaked into the room. Hi, MCAP, brother. Nice to see you. Hi, Phoenix. Hi, Sis. Who else has come in that I've not said hello to? Hi, Christina. Nice to see you. It is interesting, isn't it, Christina? It's really interesting. And maybe to read, as I always say this and I never get back to things, but if I remember and he's asked for it, there's other chapters I could read you, like how, and I'll show you, I'll tell you all the chapters and you can tell me if you're interested in me reading them. Probably not tonight though. I want to see if Sister Sherry wants a chat for an hour. But some of the chapters in it is really interesting. Maybe I'll read some of them out to you. But who would have thought as well that Rabbi Burns' sister stayed here and he came to visit often? Now, who would have foreseen that? Right, so this is the chapters. A special place between continents, joined together land and at last, swamps and seas. I think that must be to do with how the evolution of the fossils came about. Fire and ice, small beginnings, exploiting the earth, connections, learning to think, turning points, secret spies. That's what I just read out there. And then looking ahead. And then the appendix is the family tree and things. But Pamela or Mary, whatever it was, the ones that gave Wally this book today, said that witches are mentioned in it as well, somewhere along it. But if you remember correctly, I told you that the witches are really prominent in this area for getting punished. Listen to this, right? This was related later to Professor Robert Harkness, another well-known geologist of the day, by Sir Roderick. So this must have been somebody that was here digging. I came last night direct from Lesmahagow County, where I passed 2 entire days with the good Slyman. I took Ramsay with me. We had glorious weather. I am more satisfied with my general results than anything I have seen for many a day. The merit of this discovery belongs to Slyman, and I shall raise a statue to him for it. As I had a very fast horse to take me from point to point, I used my legs up every burn, including all the Carborniferous series to the east. and to the top of the Nutberry and considerably to the west of it. I have no doubt as to the completeness of this evidence. When Salter has examined the fossils, I will tell you more. In the meantime, I have left Slyman the happiest man possible, and I intend, D.V., to give a little introduction to this description of the wonderful geological parish of Lesmahagow, and the merits of the poor but meritorious Dr. Slyman, who, if he had been rich enough to visit his patients on a horse, and had not travelled up the braes on foot, would never have made this excellent hit. Nuts, guys, honestly. So that's really Sir Roderick. Sir Roderick made good his promise to present an account of the geological of Lesmahagow area, doing so at the 1859 meeting of the British Association. Slyman continued to collect fossils, dying in Lesmahagow in 1882 at the age of 80. He'll be down the street. He'll be buried down the street, guys. I'm going to take a note of his name and go see if I can see him in the cemetery. No, I've lost the bloody thing. Right. He was employed at driver's shop and was... Really, minute, right, 2 seconds. I'll have to work out that. Follow collection fossils at the area between 1840 and 1841. He brought the fossils to the attention of Dr. Robert Slyman, who in turn collected the fossils from 1851. Slyman was born in the nearby village of Douglas in 1803, and his father's early death meant he started working as a handloom weaver at a young age. This, as we shall see later, was a common occupation in the villages in Lanarkshire, including both Douglas and Lesmahagow. Not satisfied with that work, Slyman moved around the area, changing his occupation several times. He was employed in a druggist's shop, and while working there, he attended classes in Stirling's medical school. Eventually, he ended up practicing medicine in Lesmahagow. It was not until 1864, I write this down, that he received his diploma. No, that was from received his diploma from the Faculty of Physicians and Surgeons in Glasgow. So 1864 was when he graduated. What am I writing it wonky for? Right, 1864 is when he graduated. This can all be questions for him. This could all be questions for him, like when did you graduate from the surgeons of the Stirling's medical school? See if we can get anything. Stirling Medical School. See, I could tell him that I know about his fossil collection. Slyman had long been interested in the geological... Witness Slyman, Dr. Slimon. Right. Slyman had long been interested in the geological of the region, having collected his first fossil in 1851. First fossil, 1851. Even before his collections from Lesmahagow, it is evident that he was collecting fossils from a younger strata across the region. In 1869, he was elected a corresponding member of the Geological Society of Glasgow. Became member. Glasgow, 1869. When he was a keen fossil collector, he left the descriptions of fossils to others. Nonetheless, he understood the local geology well and published a short report in the important Annals of the Parish of Lesmahagow of 1864. We know that Slyman collected many fossils from a number of localities around Lesmahagow through the 1850s. As they exhibited some of them at the meeting of the British Association of Glasgow in 1855. I'm going to put that attended the meeting. The British Association. Where are you going, Liam?
Yeah, I'm not sure.
Alright. See you in a bit then. 1855.
So why?
Aye, son, I'm just writing down questions out this book. That one of them was going to be buried in the graveyard in the street. They were seen by the famous Victorian geologist Sir Roderick Murchison. So let's see, mention him to him and see if we can get an answer. Roderick Murchison. He's okay, guys. I know it's too early to get rid of it. Oh, wait, I thought he's a talker. That's okay. It's okay, talk away, guys. Became widely known as the author of Solarium Systems. Now, these were seen by the famous Victorian geologist Sir Roderick Murchison, who became widely known as the author of the Silurian system, which identified the Silurian geological period. Right, I've got enough questions for him now, I think. Try fun. When he died again, I've lost I read it when he died. Sir Roderick made good his promise to present an account of the geological of Lesmahagow, doing so at the 1859 meeting of the British Association. Right, the 1859 meeting of British Association. Meeting of British Association doesn't even make sense. Association. So that was in 1859, right? Dying in Lesmahagow in 1882 at the age of 80. So he died age 80 in 1882. 1882. So that meant that he was born in 1980 then. Sorry, 1902. Cleared the fossils were good. So is that not amazing, guys? So that means that in the cemetery down the street, this Mr. I will do more research. I will take more notes for this book, guys, for questions. But that means that he's buried probably down the street, if not maybe Douglas. But I think if he stayed in this area and he was dedicated to the parish and things down there, which will be that church. It'll be that church, guys. That's been there for whatever. I'll find all that out. But and even if it wasn't that particular church that's there, it's maybe one that standed on that ground before that, you know. This is another person. Our next player in the discovery of the Lesmahagow fossils is Dr. John R. S. Hunter, later to become Hunter Selkirk. John Hunter was born in Edinburgh in 1835, but was brought up for most of his life in Carluke district of South Lanarkshire. Although not from a wealthy family, he was able to advance in life through his connections with the Selkirk family, and later in life married Mary Selkirk, daughter to a wealthy mine owner in Braidwood between Carluke and Lesmahagow. Basically, that's where CROSSROADS is, where the Tillytoodlem castle is, really between there. Hunter himself was founder of the Hunterian Museum in Glasgow. One assumes he was attracted to his initially as he had the same name. The biography apparently enthused him, and he resolved to amass a natural history collection to surpass any other in Scotland. What is interesting to learn is that he largely achieved this goal, as his collection is one of the most important of the later 19th century. After school, Hunter went to the study both. Right now. I'm not going to read it out, guys. It's going to be a bit much. I'm just trying to see when he came to the go. There's Campasiluria. While the Lesmahagow fossils are important and well preserved, attracting them requires time and effort. Indeed, this is not a casual afternoon jaunt. The need for extensive excavation has been controversial in recent years. In the 1990s, Professor German Collection raided the sites looking for those wonderful fossils and removed large parts of the stream banks with mechanical equipment. Such was the outcry in the national press under the headline Commercial Vandalism at Scottish Fish Beds that it has led to new codes of conduct regarding the collection of fossils in Scotland and later across the world. The sites are now protected by their status as sites of special scientific interest. This case has become an important one in the debate over the ownership of national heritage. For instance, if Scotland were ever to become independent, would there be calls for the return of all the Scottish fossils in the Natural History Museum in London? Lesmahagow fossils now feature in many of the great museums in the world. In 2019, I visited the Natural History Museum in Vienna, Austria, and was surprised to see many fossils from Lesmahagow on display there. It was clear from the outset that the fossils from Lesmahagow were something special. Just as now, Hunter had to obtain permission from the various landowners to collect his material. But this was not a short trip. Tents and expensive supplies for a 3-month excavation had to be purchased. See, there's some of the pictures of some of the fossils at the fun, guys. So it's basically like old little muscles fishing things, if you see them. But it must be interesting enough to make a difference, you know. The main excavation took place on the banks of the Logan Water. Few places in Lanarkshire could exert a more powerful influence on the imagination than the neighbourhood of our sojourn on the Logan Water. Its loneliness and remoteness from so-called civilization made us feel the bracing air of freedom in every breeze. The situation of our tent at Shanks Castle was pleasant in the extreme. We were surrounded by grassy hillocks, and a small wood gave us abundance of shelter from the prevailing winds. Here the naturists and the botanists might find occupation in studying the many varieties of animal and plant life less common in the lowlands. Meadows and swamps not only harboured many species of water-loving birds, but afforded food and shelter for many kinds of birds, which haunt such solitudes, especially in the breeding season. Various ferns were found clinging to the rocks in sheltered spots, and nowhere did the wildflowers appear to bloom in rich profusion. The grassy slopes were soft, and the richest Turkey carpet, with the vividness of their bright green contrasting admirably with the deep clear blue of the heavens above. We know that usually there was not a human being within miles of us, save perhaps a single shepherd, yet we could not see his solitude. So basically, he's just talking about part Protestant unrest. I think this is Small Beginnings chapter, that one. Religions and conflicts. Abbey Green and Lesmahagow. Let's read this. So, it is believed that Tectronius Benedictine monks. Oh, this is about the abbey that I showed you down the street. It is believed that the Tectronius Benedictine monks built a church in Abbey Green as early as 1100 to 1120. As we have seen, King David I gave them an extensive land grant as well. It is probable that the church was built on the ruins of an early 16th century church. The original 12th century priory and church were built on the banks of the River Nethin. In 1336, when it was called St Mary's Church, it was destroyed by John of Eltham, who was the brother of King Edward III of England. He brought all of those in the area into the church, suspecting them of being supporters of Robert the Bruce, and torched it, killing all inside. The king, however, was upset at his brother's actions and was rumoured to have killed him as a consequence. St Mary's Church was rebuilt, later being demolished for the building of the present church, the old parish church, in 1803. A wooden model of St Mary's made by a John Meikle is now housed there. Excavations of the priory were made as part of Lesmahagow History Project, a joint venture between the Glasgow Archaeological Society and Clydesdale District Council in 1978. The main centre of the parish was to be Abbey Green, often referred to simply as the Green. For many years, what is now known as Lesmahagow was this parish, with Abbey Green at the centre and the village growing around it. Only later was the village referred to as Lesmahagow. Other churches and chapels came under their authority, and the area of Lesmahagow parish soon developed in an area we are familiar with today. Religions and conflict. I'll not read that on the live, guys. But that's so interesting, isn't it? That is amazing, guys, that we in our little small town has got such a connection to the wider world. A lot of the history of Scotland as well. So it's absolutely amazing. I'm just so glad that I could bring it to my channel and share some of it with you. You know? Love you, sis. And I'll show you. There's the book there. I'll bring it back. But I'm coming to see you. I'll be going to see Sister Sherry in a couple of weeks, guys. 3 weeks or something, I'm going down. Look at it, it's a wee village. And look, if you look, there's where the bus stop is. That's where I went to the business school. If you look here. Right, look, there's where Pepe's is. That's the chip shop underneath there where Liam worked. And then look, here's the bus stop. I stand at where the doctor's is. So here's the in here is that place that I went to the business school, in this door. And then look at all those people. There's the bus stop basically here. Pepe's, Nellie's old house is there. That's one of the oldest houses in Lesmahagow. It's knocked down now, remember. But look, if you look, you can barely see. In fact, I don't even think it's there. I don't know if that's the well or not. Is it not amazing, guys? I don't know if she wants the book back or if I have to keep it. I don't know. I don't mind giving her it back. I'll have a quick read it. Or I might get one, I'll see. The Crossroads of Time. How a Small Scottish Village Changed History. Andrew C. Scott. So, guys, I recommend it. I have put the title, the person that read it, in the description. So, I just wanted it dated marking. Go make dinner, Christina says. A lot of history, isn't it, Kerry? But when Willie brought it up, I was like, oh my God, the connection to our little town is not nuts. For all the fossils and everything being under our town is amazing. Especially that it's got a profound effect on all the teachings of fossils across the world. But all the other little people, all the little people, sorry, I don't mean little people, but all the people that's originated from here and it's went on to other things is nuts. Hi, son. And they do go on to credit a lot of people with it. From the first Lesmahagow fire engine on a postcard. Cover illustrations front. The first. All right. So that there, the illustration, was the first Lesmahagow fire engine on a postcard. Author of collections. The back looking towards Logan Water at the famous fossil. So there's basically where they collected all the famous fossils. And that looks on to basically the back road. I think Lesmahagow must be here somewhere. Doing this way. So it's basically between Lesmahagow and Colburn. It's all that big massive woodland. So you could probably still dig today. Oh no, you're not allowed to dig anymore, that's right. Oh my god. Oh look! I've got a little bat. I'll show you something else I've got. It's still working. Oh, don't say I kept it. I got it for Jordan. It's sit beside Jordan's little picture. It says just for you on it. Do you know, Sister Sherry, I might actually get you one. I'll see if she's got any left. They're all different colours. And because when I come to see you, I won't be bringing a lot of stuff. So I hope you like that, guys, okay? See if it might be on Amazon. Yeah, I could, Brother Scott. Yeah. Saying that, Pamela. Oh, she's also given me a lot of tarot cards, guys. She doesn't know why. William said she doesn't know why, but she was attracted to buying tarot cards. So she's got loads of them, seemingly. So I says, she doesn't need to give me them. I'll have a look at them and I'll buy them off her. But she doesn't want a reading or anything. She just wanted to probably look at them. A lot of people, I think, they buy tarot cards just to privately do these things for themselves. So I think a lot of people are like that, and I think that's what I started off like. I got that I was buying the cards to just kind of, I don't know, to sort my life out, I suppose, in a lot of ways. Got a lot of, to try and see some insight to what my future was going to be like, because I had just not long fell out with Kerry's dad when I got my first deck of tarot. I'd got Oracle before. So it's interesting, isn't it? Anyway. Go on call after this. Oh, sorry. All sorts of goodies, Brother Scott, yeah. Go on call after. Yeah, well, I'll call you, sis. What I'll do is there anybody else live or anything? Is there anybody want to promote their live coming up? Lovely, thanks for the history. I know, but how many tarot cards can you have for yourself? My friend said, oh my, you spend as much. Yeah, you've got to. I think if you're drawn to them and it's something that you like, definitely get them, because you never know. Look at me. I wouldn't have knew 10 years ago that I would be doing all this, would I? You know? So you never know what's in your life, a plan. There's so much that people think, I'd never do that, never, never. Don't ever say never. I'm a prime example for never saying never. If you knew me 15 years ago, I used to say God didn't exist. I used to say, what was it I used to say? I used to say that God was like the tooth fairy and it was a myth. It was something that people made up years ago to frighten the kids and to keep people in society in line. and I would never even be open to discussing it. And that's the God's honest truth. I'd be like, don't be so silly, there's no God. If there was a God, why is there so much suffering in the world? Why is there pain after pain after pain in people? Why is people losing their kids? Different things like that, I would say. Why do you get your heart broken? Why is there so much illness in the world? And I would say things like, God's like God in religion is like the tooth fairy. It's all a myth, and I would never even be open to things like the tooth fairy and things. You know, crazy. So never say never. Now, I believe there is a God. There is not just one God, though. There is many gods. There may be a creator that is the creator of everything. Who knows? We're not anybody walking this earth can tell you anything about the other side that they do not experience for themselves, because spirits lie. There is too many entities out there that mask themselves as something else and reel you in. So you can't really even rely on what the spirits around you say. Take it with a pinch of salt and always go with your own instincts, because spirits lie. Demons and things can mask to be anything they want to be. So definitely talk to your guides and put some trust in them. But for 100% of your spiritual path and things like that, always make sure you're relying on your own instinct, is my my advice. But I definitely know, I don't just believe, I know there is definitely things out there that want to help us. There is things out there that has got our back. We may not be able to see them or touch them, but they're definitely around us. And if you only can channel in to that, aiming your desperation somewhere that is positive, then you're winning. But deciding what is good and what is bad is the key. You have to really, really be careful there, is my advice for you. I love a good book to smell. Oh my goodness, yes. Our Kerry has got to be the master of smell. She can tell everything by smell. Who did you say was live? Did one of you say what somebody's going live? There's still on. I'm taking a flushy, guy. Right, okay, I'm going to get off this computer, guys. And if Sister Sherry, if you want to give us a call, I'm just going to jump to the blue and everything. But if not, it's perfectly fine. So just let me know, so I know whether I'm hanging around down here to talk to you. I'll just go chill out. I'm not bothered. If anybody is live, let me know, because I think I've missed it. I'm taking a hot flush. Yes, indeed, they're here. They definitely are here, yeah. The spirits are all around you guys, but you have to be very careful at what spirits you trust. Remember as well, not all our ancestors were good. A couple of our ancestors and things maybe weren't so good in life, so be careful what ancestors you trust as well, is my advice. Right, okay, guys, thank you so much, Drew. Good night, everybody. Okay, guys, I'm going to get off here, jump to the loo and things, and I will speak to you all soon. Yeah, audio. Definitely audio books and things like that. But I'm going to read that book, probably not, like, sit down and read it like that, but I probably will, like, read a couple of chapters, try and place it together in my brain. I'm going to go, guys. Look at my head. I am pure red. Right, love yous all loads, and I will speak to yous all soon. Remember, I moved the tarot card readings to next Friday night. I do believe next Thursday night or next Friday night. I'm not sure. But I'll definitely be looking forward to reading for yous all again, okay? It's just because I'm working every night this week, guys, that I probably won't be live on Monday. So I'm working tomorrow, Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, and Thursday, I do believe. I think it's Thursday, then I'm off Friday, Saturday, work Sunday, Monday again. So I will catch you all very soon, guys. Give you 5. Definitely, Sister Sharon, I'll jump to the loo and things and get cool off. Right, I think if you want to come in the chat, Sister Kerry wants to come in the chat as well, I think. We'll figure it out on the clan group, okay? I will catch you all soon, guys. Remember, subscribe to each other. Watch out for all the live streams that will be coming up with everybody. And just stick in there, guys, and keep doing you. And keep just your spiritual path. That's all my advice for you. And you never know. Do some research on your hometown. You never know who's born in it. It's nuts. Right, bye, everybody. I will catch you all soon. Blessings. Bye, guys.